tranquility.
Everybody, and welcome back to yet another incredible night of Overwatch Tranquility action. Tonight, your lovely matchup for the night is going to be Instaloch versus Airstrike, and bringing it to you will be me. It's Door, and I've got by my side Captain Jack and Billy Gott. How you guys doing?
Doing incredible. So glad to be a part of the team.
Yeah, first night here. Hope it goes well.
Yeah, everybody say hello to them. They're going to be doing an incredible job. Billy Gott on the desk, taking it over in between matches, telling us what we should be looking for. And Captain Jack going side by side with me inside of these maps. But to start off, I'll already throw a little bit of stuff over towards the Instaloch versus the Airstrike. Instaloch now sitting at 0-1. Airstrike, of course, did win their first match versus Tough Luck. So looking a little bit better for them. But do you want to kind of run through a couple of these rosters and any particular names we should be looking out for?
Sure, we can go ahead and do that. On Instaloch, we'll be seeing Slang Taffy, Cobb, Sweet Buns, Cognitive Pit, Paper Seller, and Bad Heels coming in for the side of Instaloch this evening. I'm not very familiar with the team, but knowing that we are in the Discord.
This composition out of Airstrike is going to be looking to do?
I think they're looking to switch.
Yep, I don't think that they're going to stick on it, although in the lower rankings I have been seeing this Rhine Hog be incredibly powerful. D.Va's the pick nowadays, just with the 3-second boosters now. It definitely improves their chances of getting around and doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, and looking like we're already into it. The pretty meta composition here locked in by Airstrike running that May Reaper. It's going to be a lot of damage coming down on point as the dive starts to come out here from Instaloch, but not looking too successful, not able to get on top of their supports. Vayne is running around on point for absolutely free value. Cactus controlling the high ground fairly well, but a great job by Airstrike controlling this low ground, staying hidden, but a nice anti-nade lands from Bad Heels. This could be disaster here for Airstrike. They stick back in their corner, they manage to heal back up. This Winston's starting to get more and more ult charge. He's got that Primal Rage in his back pocket. Now the members of Airstrike are falling one by one, and the damage, the pressure was just too much for them to handle.
Woo! That was absolutely incredible from the side of Instaloch right there, and that's the disadvantage to keeping that quick grouped up situation that we saw from the side of Airstrike. Is that Bad Heels, if they're able to get in a clutch anti-nade, as we saw right there, is just able to hit about 3 or 4 people, and then just the rest of the team be able to clean up on that. Cobb also coming in on that Winston, just being able to do a lot of damage in many different directions with a group up like that. So we'll see if that works out for them as they come in for the next push.
Ooh! Cognitive Pit finding the Domo Sheepy, and that's the main support gone. It's pretty much just going to be Airstrike waiting for that Moira to spawn again. And now if you look in the top left corner of your screen, you're going to see a whole lot of check marks coming up here for the side of Instaloch. What kind of combos are they going to be looking for, Captain?
I think that the biggest combo they may be looking for is to use the sights just to get an idea of where they're going to be coming in at, as we see them popping right now.
Airstrike can't get anywhere near this point, and the second that they do now, there's going to be a whole another mess of ultimates coming their way. Meanwhile, the only thing they've got up is a Coalescence. The sound barrier is coming online. Well, it's going to be hard to counter a lot of these ultimates. They may be able to stop the bomb, but it's not looking too great for them right now.
I agree with you right there, and that's going to be up to a combination of Cobb and Sweet Buns trying to take Cryptic out. Here comes the D.Va.
The bomb goes up behind the Winston's now in the front line. He's got that Primal Rage. You know he's going to be looking to knock some people off the ledge, but a nice drop from Cognitive Pit takes out the Reaper. With a lot of that damage gone, this dive should be fairly successful. Cactus now getting dove. The anti-nade lands down on 2 members of Airstrike here. They managed to trade 2 back, but it's not looking great for them on point as the 4 versus 2 continues to break down. Panda is still alive right now on the May, dropping the Blizzard at 95%. He's got to get a touch in on this point, but there's nothing he can do against the Widowmaker of Cognitive Pit, who has been a menace to Airstrike.
And that has been absolutely huge for the side of Instaloch. They have just literally been locking down the objective with Cognitive Pit on that Widow. Anyone that's just a tiny bit out of position, not protected by Cryptic Force on that Ryan, immediately getting picked off even before the fight started. So as we head to the Mecha base, it's going to be interesting to see how they swap things up. It looks like Octane is looking to swap over to the McCree, might be able to get some additional value out of that, but we are going to see a more traditional composition coming out from the side of Instaloch as well, with Sweet Buns also coming in on that Doomfist.
Yeah, I really like this swap. I think it was a good choice to play the Winston Diva in downtown, and now swapping in here, Sweet Buns on the Doomfist could be a real menace. We saw the DPS pop off in the last round here up against Airstrike, and it'd be a curious situation whether or not they're able to handle the pressure. Already pushing in this Doomfist just gets to chunk out a lot of damage for free, but it's going to be Cobb against Cryptic Force that you really want to keep your eye on here. Charge through, comes in, gets flashed out, Sweet Buns goes down, the Doomfist now unavailable, and that's a lot of that damage gone. It's going to be Airstrike making their way forward, trying to use this pressure that they've gained. Great wall here out of Panda Games, cuts Cobb off. The rotation has to come around, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive. Massive anti-nade though, hits Cryptic Force as well as Panda Game, forces out the Ice Block, takes out the Reinhardt. Now Cactus is about the only tank that Airstrike are going to have left. Which of these Divas can buy more space for their team? It's not going to be enough, though. Sweet Buns manages to find a kill through all of that, and the DPS are trading back and forth right now. Cryptic Force and Cobb are both back on the point. The main tanks are alive, but the High Noon from low ground is going to force Airstrike back Instaloch space for right now. Nano, though, nice fire strike, lands on the paper seller. Cobb getting pushed out, and now it's actually going to be Cobb getting nanoed in, but it's not enough to keep him alive.
That was an interesting use of the nano there at the end. Sweet Buns looking to at least prevent them from grabbing the objective, but the fight essentially was already won at that point, and it really came down to the battle of the Rhines on the objective. It was going pick for pick until we saw Cryptic and Cobb get back into the fight with one another, and with that nano available for Cryptic Force before Cobb, it just worked out.
Oh! There it is, the Shatter lands down on 3 members. Cryptic Force going to be cleaning up with ease there. And if you look, like I mentioned, the top right this time, it's going to be Airstrike with that massive ultimate lead. They're able to use a couple there and just get away with it. Instaloch starting to catch up, but they didn't get nearly the same amount of value out of that first elongated fight as Airstrike did, and they're paying for it.
And that's something that we sometimes see on these control maps, the Peter Griffin Spider-Man meme, everybody gets one kind of thing, where there's one map maybe in the set that doesn't really work out for you, but it seems like it's working out for them now.
We'll have to see if this one works out. The bomb's chucked in on top of the Blizzard. The charge lands here onto Cobb. Taken out by the Diva Bomb, now chucked in the back though. Slang Tappy trades it out for Vayne. D-Max Cactus as well. That means there's nothing to stop this anti-nade from coming in. And Airstrike suddenly crippled here, cut down at the knees as Instaloch push their way to gain control of the point.
I was incredibly interested in the fact that Slang Taffy was able to continue to hold on, and that may just come down to Paper Seller and Bad Heals just continuing to amp it up. We saw the beat drop and the nano used in that to at least keep one of the tanks alive when the bomb came down in the Blizzard. Let's go ahead and see if this next fight continues to hold.
The Shatter and the counter Shatter out of Cryptic Force, but he doesn't find anybody. Instead, it's 2 of his own teammates who get taken down, but Cobb, in the end, pays the price. Over-aggressives on the Reinhardt, now without a main tank. Instaloch are forced back down onto this point, need to buy as much time as they can before Airstrike collapse in here and take advantage of it. Oh, but on the high ground, Octane, he slept. He should be going down to Bad Heals here. Paper Seller's up with them. The DPS stays alive, but goes down, and the kills are starting to roll in here for Instaloch. Without the damage, Airstrike can't be taking this fight right now. Instead, just going to opt to rotate out their tanks, running away as best they can, but Diva getting a DMAC at the last second.
Gonna get quarantined off there, just looking to try to get that remech back, but all it does is waste percentage on the clock right now. Cactus is surprisingly able to get that pick onto Sweet Buns, though.
Yeah, and one more going the way of Airstrike spells good news for them. Cryptic Force also gets the nano on top of Cobb's. Cobb, though, has to back off as he got anti-naded. Nice wall! Saves them from the Deadeye from the low ground. Now forced back. It's 2 tanks and a DPS here on the low ground. Not too much in the way of heals to keep them alive. Airstrike are going to look to push in. Cryptic Force looking to play as aggressive as he can. A great wall, though, from Panda Games. keeps Cobb from running away. Now the Diva Bomb chucked in, the charge on top of it, doesn't find anybody. Great sound barrier here out of Airstrike. Can he keep the rest of their teammates alive? And Octane on the high ground finds 3, and he's looking to seal out this map here for Airstrike.
That is a cleanup right there as Control swaps back over. They're getting ready to balance out once again. And that Deadeye was absolutely perfect right there. Comboed with the Blizzard from the high ground. Was just able to get the picks that was needed, especially with the Reinhardt out of the way right there. This is going to be last fight territory. Let's see if they can take it.
And Airstrike yet again not catching out the rotation over to the opposing door, allowing Instaloch to get down onto that low ground. Now, the McCree and the Ana need to take full advantage of this high ground if they want to win this fight. They've got everything they need to find a pick. Will they be able to, though? Cryptic Force goes in! Oh, but he's not able to block the Shatter, stunned out by the flashbang. Unfortunately, though, for the side of Instaloch, they're not able to finish off on anything from that. Great flashbang, though, allows them to get it through. Sweet Bun finds one on the Cryptic Force. Finally, Flame Taffy take it now. And Sweet Buns, it's absolutely mental here on the point. Him off for the 4th. One remaining member of Airstrike is here on the point with 5% remaining until it's over. This might just be it. The Wrecking Ball coming in on the point. Cryptic Force trying to reach, but he can't. Oh, barely reaching it, though, is going to be Cactus. The Diva boots off the map. It ticks down. The Cryptic Force is sleeping on the job. Cognitive hit from the high ground is going to end it, though. Finds 4 to his name in the final fight.
And that's the unfortunate part about that final fight territory, right? Is that we commonly see the swaps over to the quicker characters that can get back to the objective, but then you sacrifice that shield, or if the Diva gets taken out, you don't have that defense matrix to be able to defend against things like Cognitive Pit, which we're going to see in this play of the game right here. Get that triple, following up with the single kill after, and that ends up getting them the match.
Yeah, and a really, really impressive display showing that they can work on more than just the dive composition. It looked a little bit shaky there for the side of Instaloch at the beginning of that second map, but they really brought it together in the end. They got their ultimate rotations. They figured out how to take the ultimate economy away from Airstrike, most importantly there, and finished it off. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. I do want to give a quick thank you to Skulkly, as well as who else did I see in here? Miali Music coming in with those subscriptions. Thank you so much for supporting our community. Billy, what were you seeing during that match that really made it so that Instaloch would be able to tower above Airstrike here on Busan?
Well, on Downtown, it really looked like the game of Cognitive Pit versus Airstrike there. The game of the game was how much can you get away with, and how can we get Cryptic Force to turn around and drop his shield for half a second. Cobb threw in a Diva Bomb behind Airstrike as the rotation was coming through, and Cryptic Force had to turn around to block that, and instantly the Reaper goes down. Past that, the second map seemed to be a lot closer on Mecha Base, where it was more of a mirror comp. More of a mirror comp coming out. We got to see a lot more even play. Cryptic Force, obviously, with some great moments, but Cognitive Pit too. And of course, we all saw that fantastic High Noon coming out from the side of Airstrike with the 3K from Octane. Thankfully, very close match so far.
Yeah, that definitely seemed to be a back and forth between Cryptic Force and Cobb, and it seemed like just the way that the teams were interacting with one another. Instaloch was very much more on that, trying to utilize every avenue as much as possible, where Airstrike was very much more on that, stay grouped up, work together as closely as possible, and despite the fact that Cryptic was able to clean up a lot on Mecha Base, it just ended up not being enough there. Our next map, we're going to head to Assault on Volskaya Industries. What do you think we might see there from these two teams based on what we've seen so far tonight?
Well, any other teams, I would say a mirror comp of Ryan Diva, but we did see Dive come out from Instaloch on Downtown, and then we did see a McCree Doomfist, which threw me off guard a little bit.
Play here out of Airstrike, but in some way or another, it's actually just getting countered out by the fact that Instaloch are playing very split up. Airstrike can't really take down all these members at once, so if they're not perfectly coordinated, if they don't take full advantage of the fact that they are the grouped up team. It's going to be a rough one for them, but they're making that one concerted effort now over here towards the right side of the point, pushing their way around, bullying Cobb, but again, the anti-nade lands on it too, and it's Airstrike forced to back up now, using their resources. The ice block comes out, the fire strike lands on the Cobb. It's a Reinhardt battle right now, but it's Cognitive Pit from the high ground that's just been that menace like he was on downtown. It's a big advantage to have the Widowmaker farming for free right now. Forced down onto the low ground, but it's too little too late. The damage is already done. Cobb swinging through. Cryptic Force gets slapped. Oh! The Shadow doesn't come down in time. Cryptic Force, though, dropped down to pretty much 1 health. Cobb forced down, gets counter charge just in time. Cryptic Force, again, purple here. Bad heals. It's insane on this. And his sweep buns in here to clean up now. Cobb gets to push forward with that nano. He'll get slept down on the job, but not before he's done just enough work.
That was 3 huge anti-nades in the span of 1 minute and 10 seconds right there. The first one coming right out of the spawn door from Bad Heals, immediately getting 5, getting a huge amount of charge that allowed them to be able to pop that nano at the same time as Sheepy. It's definitely going to be, once again, one of those things that has to be watched out for by Cactus to be able to grab those every time they come in so that they don't make a nuisance of it.
You know, Jack, I really don't mind the Bad Heals if he's landing anti-nades like that. I'll take that any day of the week, you know?
No, I agree with you there, but it's definitely not going to work out well for Instaloch, though, or for Airstrike that way.
And honestly, the heals haven't been lacking in any way either. The nanos have pretty much been dead even here. Both Reinhardt's getting them at the same time in the last fight, and now it's going to be real tough for them to push in. They took too long to get in here. Now Cognitive Pit is free on the high ground. Cactus trying to push him down. Managed to take this Widowmaker out of the equation, but his front line's gone down for it. Not able to block the fire strike, not able to block the anti-nade, not able to block the damage raining in from the Instaloch side.
And that makes it absolutely worse right there. When you see Bad Heals using the Amp Matrix with that anti-nade, it just creates an incredible amount of dissonance on the team, doing just that additional damage that allows them to go down that much faster. With only 1 minute and 25 left on the clock, I'm really interested to see what is going to happen as they are coming in with the ult advantage.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely their best opportunity. They've got the 6 ultimates up. Meanwhile, on the side of Instaloch, they're staring in the face of 2, maybe a third sites if you really want to count. It's not going to matter too much in the middle of this fight. It's going to have to be perfect play here out of Instaloch if they want to hold on. They've proven that they can do it. Will they be able to finish it off, though? This Blizzard's going to be huge. It lands down on a Cobb. Not quite going to get frozen. No, there it is, just on the edge. He goes down. Now Cryptic Force looking to land the damage down. The anti-nade goes down on the Reinhardt. The sound barrier coming out of the side of Airstrike. The bomb down center, though. Slaying Tabby takes advantage of that support ultimate being gone. He'll pick himself up, too. Cryptic Force, though, finds Bad Heals. That's been the bane of their existence this entire time. Now they have to be able to find the finish of this fight. They have to sustain. They're taking out the members of Instaloch, and that's finally going to be an Airstrike break open point A.
With only 30 seconds remaining on the clock, and Airstrike finally able to grab Objective A. That's going to give them an additional 3 minutes to move in. And if they have to wait, essentially, for that 6 ultimate stack to be able to grab Objective Bravo as well, they're going to have a really hard time defending when we go into round 2.
Yeah, 3 minutes not quite enough here. They are still sitting pretty even in the ultimates. It didn't take them all too much to get that point. They managed to hold on to 1 or 2, or at least get Cryptic Force back up to another shatter there at the end of the fight. It's not pushing in. This, again, is going to be a pretty even chance for them. They're not at a disadvantage at this point, so they need to look to win it here. Nice anti-nade. Oh, no! But Bad Heals does it again, finds 3 forces everybody back up. But great eat from Cactus is going to be denying that pulse bomb, and now they can push in. The shatter lands, the bomb's over, it finds 2, and Airstrike push on with a force we haven't seen yet.
And that is absolutely beautiful right there. The combination of taking down Cobb with the shatter and then the Diva Bomb going into the backline was exactly what we ended up seeing almost take Airstrike on that last point when Cryptic Force ended up tackling off to the side when the Diva Bomb went down for Instaloch. With 2 minutes 22 seconds on the clock and not being able to touch that objective, that does give them quite a bit of a buffer to be able to hold on for maybe a couple more sets of rounds.
Yeah, and Instaloch were looking to stagger there. They swapped onto the Wrecking Ball. They had the Lucio going to point, but the Wrecking Ball had actually stopped outside to shoot out the Reinhardt, assuming that his Lucio would make it the point, but a great flashbang out of, I believe it was Octane, that actually ended up netting them that point, because if that Lucio got on, I can almost guarantee you the Wrecking Ball would have made it, and that probably would have been about a minute off of the time bank of Airstrike.
Yeah, that's always something that you have to try to figure out how to make work, and I think that with Panda Games in on that May, it became more of a preventative measure, especially when that wall came up, preventing Cobb from being able to get to the objective, using the DPS and tanks kind of as those bodyguards for those objective entrances. Really ended up working out for them to grab it successfully. Now, with Airstrike going on to the defense, they're probably going to find themselves in an interesting position, as Sweetbuns now coming in on the Genji this time around. Could end up working out well for them, but not if Panda Games keeps grabbing them.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to be walking into the face of here, and it looks like the Genji will actually stay locked in here. This is actually a really interesting pick. The Doomfist was one thing, the Genji is a whole nother. They have the on if they want to go for the Nano Blade, but it's just the fact of the matter that Genji doesn't do too much here in the neutral. Not able to dive either of these supports, though. They're getting aggressive, and Cognitive Pit takes out Cryptic Force off the flashbang. The anti-nade lands down onto 3, and this is almost guaranteed going to be Instaloch cleaning up this fight. There's been so much damage going down. Panda Games trying to freeze somebody, but he just can't do anything in the face of Instaloch.
This is literally the bad heel show at this point. Already up to 75% to that Nano. Huge anti-nade, allowing the team to go ahead and clean that up. I mean, more cannot be said at this point, because really every fight is continuing to be bad heals, throws in the anti-nade, gets about half the team, and the team just collapses.
I mean, I think you kind of have to question Cactus just a little bit here. I don't think I've seen him eat a single one of them yet, and that's really something you have to learn to do. It's kind of an older D.Va thing since before GOATS, I guess, but a lot of these tanks really haven't had to deal with eating anything other than ultimate, and now pushing in, he's got to worry about a lot more than just abilities now. His Slaying Taffy takes out 2, pushing in now. Instaloch looking to close out here with the blade, finds Sheepy, the main heal's gone. Sweetbuns is just cleaning up on top of this point. It's going to be Instaloch ending this map with a fantastic time bank of 5.5 minutes.
Wow. And that's, again, an absolute shutdown between both of the maps, taking it in just about 2 minutes, 30 seconds, which is a really good time for an assault map. We're going to end up seeing Airstrike go right back onto the attack with 2 minutes, 22 seconds in their time bank, knowing that they took such a long time to take Objective Alpha the first time. I agree with you. Cactus really needs to work on focusing bad heals like the plague, like really like a antibiotic trying to take down a virus in your body. Needs to really be taking out those antis. The anti the anti to the anti right there. But really being able to hit take down all those anti-nades, and this might be one of those solutions. If they can't grab the anti-nades, then maybe switching over to that Zarya like we see possibly coming in for their team might be successful, at very least, to keep themselves in Cryptic Force on the fight.
Wait, Jack, am I seeing things right? Wasn't Airstrike just on the attack? I swear I blinked and now they're on the attack again.
No. Because Instaloch had gotten the 530 that we just watched.
I know. In the time that I blinked, though, it's actually absurd.
Oh, yes. It feels like it has not been very long. I agree with you there.
All right. Feels finally even again. No ultimates, no blades to worry about. And it's just got to be perfect play here out of Airstrike. They've only got 2 minutes and 7 seconds to do it, and they got to punish these anti-nades coming out. And they think that Cactus is going to be able to do it here on the D.Va. Forces Cognitive off the high ground, and that's what we like to see here. Just systematically making their way through, but that's it! The flashbang, the anti-nade lands, and 4 members are just purple here from Airstrike, and they know when it's coming. It's the same thing every single time, but you've got to block it. You've got to get that defense matrix in.
Well, I think the issue is that Cactus was diving Cognitive Pit on the high ground, who has also been a nuisance, but really, like, you got to focus the person that's doing the majority of the damage to your team, and right now that is bad heals with those huge anti-nades. Over and over again has been allowing the side of Instaloch to just collapse onto Airstrike, and Cactus just isn't there to catch the ball, I guess.
And really the only thing that might get up here by the end of this minute is going to be Panda Games Blizzard. Obviously Octane will get the Deadeye here, but there's not too much use for it here. This point is just a little bit too flat. Cactus almost getting caught out here. If you get caught out of that mech, there's not going to be anything to stop this anti-nade. Force back, 57 seconds left on the clock. Airstrike going to be more than comfortable just disengaging from this Deadeye. Sweet Buns opting to use it for the reload now is Airstrike just wrapped around this mini building. Cactus gets slept out here. No anti-nade coming through right yet, and they look for that flashbang. Blocked down. This is going to be the best chance here for Airstrike, but again, it lands onto two. Unable to be blocked here by Cactus. They get the disengage. They'll have an opportunity to push in here while that anti-nade's on cooldown, but if they don't make it worth their time, it's going to be a rough one. Cog finds 4 with the shatter. Forget the anti-nade. Every single player here on Instaloch is capable of it. Panda Games, though, he lands the Blizzard onto 4, and it's starting to look like Airstrike clean up this first point. They bring it back from the depths of a 4-man Cobb shatter and manage to take point A.
And that really came down just to how they ended up attacking the objective in the end. Without Cryptic Force there to be able to block the Diva Bomb that came in from Slang Taffy, they ended up splitting across the objective. Cactus going in one direction, the DPS with Vayne going in another to speed boost away from that Diva Bomb, allowed them to get a couple, clean up the Blizzard, and move their way into Objective Bravo. But only 15 seconds to make something happen.
15 seconds is not much time, but Cryptic Force has a shatter and Cactus has a bomb. They've got their combo. They've got it set up. The Sound Barrier needs to come here in 6 seconds, and they've got to touch this point. Shatter goes in, finds nobody. Touching it will be Vayne. Point is going to be still alive here for Overtime. No! It's not enough time!
Vayne was milliseconds away from touching the border of that objective, but again, we saw those huge anti-nades forcing Airstrike just a little bit off the objective, trying to stay away from the aggression that continues to come out from Instaloch. And I mean, I'm having a hard time finding anything else that Airstrike needs to do other than take care of bad heals. like those anti-nades are literally what is continuing to eat up their attack or defense, regardless of the side that they are on. It makes them incredibly weak. Obviously, you can't get any heals in during the couple of seconds that it's affecting the team, and during that time, Instaloch takes advantage of it and just cleans everything up, or they just waste time off the clock. And with 5 minutes 30 seconds for Instaloch to be able to take Objective Alpha and 1 tick on Objective Bravo, I feel like this might end up being an easy day if Cactus can't start grabbing those anti-nades.
You know what, though? I'm not all wise or omnipotent. I know about you, Captain Jack, but I think I see a little bit of a way for Airstrike to make their way back into this one. We saw a peak of it there at the end of the A point. If it was intentional, we saw the fight go down just a little bit scrappily, and the DPS and Cactus both actually started wrapping around. And while Instaloch were trying to fight this Ryan battle and take down Cryptic Force with using pretty much every single one of their resources, it was actually Airstrike that dove the backline and found a lot of kills. I think they could actually look to do the same thing here, kind of give up that Reinhardt battle in favor of kills, but it doesn't matter. Coggy's pit finds an early pick. Cryptic Force is going to have to clean up based on this wall. It's a good one here for Panda Games, but nobody going down. Finally, Octane finds one here on the Sweet Bun, trying to clean up this kill, and Octane is holding it down right now for the Airstrike side, and Cobb finally falling here for the first time. I feel like we've seen Cryptic Force go down first in every fight.
And that is absolutely beautiful right there. First off, you ended up seeing Cactus finally be able to get that anti-nade. Otherwise, it ended up going into Cryptic Force's shield just to be able to support the rest of Instaloch after that May wall. But continuing positioning like that as they're trying to move their way around the cart is going to be good for them.
And now they've got Cobb cut off without any healing. He's holding the shield up, connected from his team. It's Sheepy and Octane finally. Yeah, that damage is just going to be too much. A great mate wall out of Panda Games, cuts the tanks off, takes away those resources, and allows Airstrike to continue their iron grip on this first point. But they've got a long way to go. It's 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock.
That was beautiful right there. Octane knowing exactly who to go for, immediately picking off Bad Heels, who's, again, trying to stay a little bit away from the team, similar to Sheepy, because they know that those clutch anti-nades are going to be coming in. Immediately picking them off allows them to collapse on the team with that Mei wall still up, separating them out and getting pick after pick to continue to hold 3 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and I feel like this is really two teams playing. Oh, pretty close. Octane finds the flashbang, looking for the shatter. Cryptic Force finds 3. That's what he's been searching for all night. Now Octane in the back line. He's got the Deadeye to just clean it up. He's found 3 kills to his name in just this one fight. And Octane has really been the backbone alongside Panda Games of this hold right now. There's still 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. I don't want to write Instaloch off quite yet, but it's been a pretty impressive hold here for Airstrike so far.
I agree, and I think it's coming down to the positioning that we're seeing between Panda Games and Octane. Panda working with the tanks to isolate out 1 or 2 players from the side of Instaloch to be able to collapse upon, and then Octane immediately trying to go into that backline and take down whatever heals they can end up getting right there. And I feel like we might continue to see that now, but we do have Sweet Bun swapping over to the Mei as well.
Yeah, and that Blizzard's pretty much going to spell the end of this push here for Instaloch, unless it's Airstrike not being able to finish it out. Cryptic Force is in a horrible position. He's away from his healers. The DPS are going to have to hold on here. Slang Taffy should get frozen up. Not quite. Flashbang going to be whiffing here. And I like this from Instaloch. The quick reset there. Reinhardt is going to get back first. They're going to be able to get the first swing at this point before it's Cryptic Force getting back to the point. They got to do it fast, though, and they do have the ultimate advantage. This could look rough here for Airstrike.
And that's going to be the thing that they're definitely going to have to worry about. It looks like they are going to give them enough time for Cryptic Force to get back into the fight as they work their way around the outside. But I feel like it's going to come down to the Battle of the Maze at this point, with Sweet Buns coming up on that Blizzard.
I mean, watch for these demons to eat. You know, Slang Taffy's searching for it. He knows it's available. The high noon. Octane looks for it. He finds 2. The bomb's out. Cobb looks for the shatter, but the bomb doesn't go far enough behind the shatter. Doesn't connect to anything, and these ultimates completely nullified by the side of Airstrike. Cactus closes it out here with 1 more bomb. Maybe a little bit overkill with 1 minute 50 seconds left on the clock. Instaloch still haven't managed to get anything here on the first point.
It may be overkill per se, but it definitely ended up getting a kill, so it was somewhat valuable regardless of what ended up happening. With Panda Games coming up on the Blizzard as well, I feel like we're going to end up seeing a Venn diagram of Blizzards and essentially a complete freeze as we go into the next fight with only 1 minute and 20 on the clock.
Yeah, Cryptic Force has the shatter, but he's got to be able to buy his team just a little bit of time here pushing in. I like this positioning from Instaloch. They've got Cognitive Pit up on the high ground. The Blizzard comes out, not going to be eaten here by Cactus, but nobody gets frozen. Slang Taffy, though, eats Panda Games. That's huge. Cognitive Pit has the high ground. He's got the Deadeye. Not quite blocked out here by Cactus. Now pushing their way onto the point. Instaloch is finding the kill, but again, Cryptic Force cleans up, swings through with the hammer like they're nothing but butter here. Instaloch unable to complete their push. They've got 54 seconds, though, and they're going to opt to regroup. This could be a quick one.
The biggest issue that they're having right now is that the fight is actually continuing. Cactus slept off the objective, as we see now. Sweet Buns swapping back over to that Nuisance Tracer. We're going to go ahead and get right back into the fight again with 35 seconds on the clock.
Keep an eye on Octane here. The Deadeyes have been big, and he's going to look to come in here. He'll be a little bit late to point, but if his team can hold on for just long enough, and they find Sweet Buns, Vayne goes down for the trade, though. Sound Barrier will be unavailable now. He's only at 50%, though, and Cryptic Force finds the shatter on the Cobb, and that's going to be what matters in the end. He gets the nano. He's looking to close it out. There's 16 seconds left. Slaying Taffy finds Sheepy in the backline. Without main heals, there might be time for something here. Well, 10 seconds on the clock. It's looking all but done here for Instaloch, in an absolutely heroic hold here by Airstrike is going to net them the map.
Ooh, almost getting Sweet Buns right there. Not able to get to the objective. We're going to see Airstrike tie it up here in the series tonight, 1-1, as they go ahead and take the victory here on Volskaya.
I've got to say, the DPS for Airstrike have absolutely stepped up to another level right now. Panda, as well as Octane, really held on to that map, and it was Octane continually finding massive picks at the ends of fights and just barely holding on. That was winning it for him, but there's definitely been some level of strategic change here from Airstrike. You're noticing they're not focusing down Cobb nearly as much. The kills are going down in the backline, and I think they've identified exactly what Instaloch are maybe a little bit too intent on doing, and that's killing Cryptic Force.
And I think that that is the goal that they are probably going to continue to go for, is the fact that once you take down that main tank, it's very difficult to continue the fight on the objective. So I'm going to be interested to see if Instaloch continues to go for that fight on Cryptic Force. Bad Heel's having a very difficult time there during that 5 minute 30 seconds in round 4 right there, to be able to help them take the objective, because they were either getting picked off by Octane or separated out by Panda Games from the rest of the team, just not being able to be as useful as we've continued to see in matches so far. So, Billy, what were you seeing during that Volskaya match that really turned things around for Airstrike?
Well, you guys really said it yourselves. We definitely saw Cactus putting a stop to Bad Heel's reign of terror over Airstrike today. We happened to see Cryptic Force back in full glory, landing quite a few massive shatters to save the round for his team there. I gotta hand it to Airstrike too. You look at that clock. You win 4 or 5 fights. You think, oh, it's almost over. You look back at the clock. 3.5 minutes left. Can't be easy.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to keep your head up when you feel like you've won enough, and then you're like, ah, crap, another
Absolutely.
2 minutes to go.
I'll tell you what, though, I know Cryptic Feed personally, and this man is a momentum-based player. The second this guy starts feeling himself with that hammer in his hand, he will start to melt through your team. And that's what he's been doing here against Instaloch. But it's an incredible series so far, all tied up at 1-1. It's Instaloch versus Airstrike. We're going to take it to a quick little halftime. We'll catch you guys in just a bit. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with this absolute slugfest of a match for you. It's Instaloch versus Airstrike. Current score sitting at 1-1. These teams dead even. Instaloch looked like they had a lockdown on the first match, but Airstrike striking right back in the second one after an absolutely monstrous hold in overtime. It's been a good one so far, but I enjoyed that little bit of halftime break. What did you guys get up to, Captain Jack and Billy Gott?
Well, I ended up doing some research on how cactuses work in the desert, which you may seem as kind of odd, but honestly, during dry spells, you think that cactuses are just lame, but they're definitely great sources of water. And then if you've ever seen them during the raining season, the rarity that it rains in the desert, they end up just sprouting these beautiful flowers. And that's exactly what we ended up seeing from Cactus on the side of Airstrike during that second match on Volskaya Industries, just kind of blossoming out into the freezing cold, being able to take down Instaloch and bring it back 1-1 before the half.
Yeah, this cactus is eating more than just water. It's anti-nades, it's blizzards, it's everything he's had thrown at him. But Billy Gott, how you doing, man? I'm checking on you at desk.
Man, I just got back. I had to go help Sweet Buns out of the water on Mecha Base.
Oh, man.
Need a little bit of help.
Oof.
Yeah, that Tracer self-destruct, we'll call it, was not the prettiest things, but it was after a very, very nice 3K. And now, coming to Eichenwald, it's going to have to decide which way this momentum starts to swing, because it is dead even. An Airstrike look thirsty for more right now. You guys want to start breaking down this map for me?
Well, I feel like the most important thing about Eichenwald is just when we're looking at the choke and when we're thinking about what the teams have already come in with in the previous maps. So typically we're seeing this Ryan Diva setup regardless of the team that's coming in. We did see Dive come in the first time around from the I'm interested to see how this is going to work on Eichenwald with all the tight corners, though, kind of really protecting their team a little bit better.
Yeah, I know we talked about it during halftime, but Sweet Buns looks like he just wants to play Tracer all day. He did not look happy on the Mei, and you know what? He'll be back on that Tracer now that you've helped him out of the water. Thank you very much, Billy Gott. And now, we'll be stepping straight into this match. It's already going to be Airstrike here on the initial attack. Cryptic Force making his way here around the clock tower, getting some positioning, but Panda Games snipes out Sweet Buns, and that's going to be the first kill of the match. That Tracer gone. That was a huge threat now out of the way. Cobb getting swung onto here by Cryptic Force, trying to win this battle of attrition, but Bad Heels doing a great job here keeping his Reinhardt alive. Slaying Taffy nearly gets Team Mech, not quite, but the positioning advantage still given over here. The Airstrike, the dive goes onto the back lane, and Octane might just get caught off. No! The Divas doesn't manage to finish him off, but Sheepy goes down. No more healing here for Cryptic Force. If he gets taken purple, he'll go down immediately. Octane, though, and Vayne still are alive. These damage threats here from Airstrike have proven more than potent enough. Cactus is alive. Great Maywall gonna be denying a lot of that healing, but unfortunately for Airstrike, Instaloch's running 2 main healers. It doesn't matter, though. The damage here out of Octane is just too much to handle. He's too hot. And there's 3 minutes on the clock here as Airstrike take point A.
And that was absolutely beautiful execution. And I think one of the biggest issues that we ended up seeing there is just how far back they were from the choke. They literally allowed Airstrike to just kind of walk into the front door to be able to get into that side that allowed them to essentially take the fight straight to the objective. They did have it going for them for quite some time. Instaloch being able to hold on with Walrus's disc there, the immortality field, but let's see if it continues to hold them up as they go back in for another fight.
Yeah, Sweet Buns swaps over to Doomfist. Thinks better of the Tracer right now. Not too effective against the competition. The Airstrike's running, but they got bigger things to deal with. Bigger fish to fry. The Shatter lands, and that's going to be 2 kills here from the bomb of Cactus. In fact, demeching Slaying Taffy in the meantime. Now 3 members left remaining here for the side of Instaloch, but it's going to be a clean push after a very clean combination of ultimates from Airstrike.
I just want to note the fact that I'm actually a little surprised that that worked.
The bomb landed up on the bridge.
So first off, the bomb went against the wall of the castle. So ideally, you thought it wasn't going to end up going anywhere or getting anybody, but at the last second, just based on the angle that it was sitting at, ended up going to the side, hit that high ground, and ended up getting the 2K.
Oh!
And the objective.
They didn't reach! Okay. So this fight's pretty much just for honor at this point. Sweet Buns takes another drink. Billy Gott, are you free to pick him up?
Not right now. Give me a minute.
Go get the rope again. Gotta get Sweet Buns off the bridge.
All right, Instaloch all of a sudden on point C. Luckily enough for Sweet Buns, though, there's nowhere to fall off here. They're going to get the push in, but they're up against a lot of ultimates. Panda Games has that Blizzard. He's going to look to use it, but a great eat here out of Slaying Taffy, his second of the night, as they look to push in. The Meteor Strike lands here, not quite finding the kill that he's looking for. In fact, Sweet Buns gets slept out. It's going to be Octane looking for that flashbang right click, not quite able to close it out. Doesn't wait for his cooldown, and that's going to be punished out. And then Instaloch push forward because their support was distracted.
And that ended up being a beautiful defense there from the side of Instaloch. The fact that Slaying Taffy throwing in the Diva Bomb with Sweet Buns also using the Meteor Strike to go back and get the supports for the side of Airstrike. They were able to separate them out from the rest of the team. The Diva Bomb ended up just taking down Cryptic Force's shield, but that was enough that the DPS could collapse in on that.
And yeah, it was a very, very solid push there, and the DPS getting a little bit distracted in the backline. Sweep on stunned again. Could be going down here on the Doomfist. Lots of damage in the face of Cryptic Force. His shield is next to nothing right now, but Cobb getting walled off. It's going to buy Airstrike a bit of time, and finally, they're going to punish based off a great wall by Panda Games. Allows them to get through here. Shadow lands onto 2 members and bomb. Chucked into the backline here. No shield to keep him alive. It's going to find 2 more. Cactus has been so consistent on these, and he's prickly as ever right now. Looking sharp as attack this man as they look to finish out Eichenwald.
And Cobb able to get back into the fight incredibly quickly right there. Gets immediately picked off, but the high noon from Octane. Whoa!
High noons from both sides here, but Octane managed to get the better of him. In fact, finding a 3rd kill to his name here as Cryptic Force swings through the end of Eichenwald. That's it. 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. A blazing jet fast speed here from Airstrike.
That was absolutely beautiful right there, and I can't say that I see that positioning for the final objective from McCree very often. That they go onto the cathedral portion above the throne to be able to get that Deadeye from above. So being able to essentially be a preventative measure without the rest of Instaloch being able to see kind of where they were and just have to kind of dive into the objective without knowing where that McCree was, ended up working out incredibly well for the side of Airstrike. They ended that round with 3 minutes, 28 seconds on the clock. Let's see how they do on the defense.
Yeah, honestly, that was some really creative play out of Octane. You have to think that he's done this one or two times before, and he knows exactly how that one's going to end. But now they do have to stop this push, and Sweetbun's back on the Genji. He really favors these high mechanical dive heroes, and I think that actually played out to the detriment of them on the defense. I kind of want to go back to Airstrike when they were trying to hold that first point. We talk about them giving up a lot of space to Airstrike, allowing them to push in for free, but Instaloch actually had to give up that space because they were running a Tracer. If you end up holding that choke up front, there's nowhere for the Tracer to play. She can't really get behind the enemy team, so they had to allow Airstrike to come into the point in order for Sweetbuns to get any value, but in doing that, he actually ended up going down on the Tracer, and then the push was basically free because all that area had given up. And now it's Airstrike on the defense looking to do the same exact things with Sweetbuns now on the Soldier? Yeah, the legs.
Let's go ahead and see if they can make it happen. That first pick, though, onto bad heels is going to put them in a good position for this defense.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to start.
I mean, I'd rather get that pick initially and waste 30 seconds off the clock than waste an entire minute pushing in and not getting any value out of it whatsoever. So sometimes you got to take what you can get.
And they'll start taking this space here as they wrap their way around the bell tower. Will they be able to close it out? Cobb starts pressuring down. Cryptic Force gets a nice ball here from Panda Games. Gets punished by the flashbang. Not able to do too much with it. Cognitive Hit searching for the pick in the backline, but great position here by the supports of Airstrike. It's going to be keeping them alive for right now. They're wrapping around this bell tower perfectly. Not able to be dove onto. Cognitive Hit searching for a flashbang. He's not going to be finding anybody. In fact, Octane might try to catch him out. He's getting frozen down by the May. This could be the first pick. Actually going down onto a DPS. Yes, Cognitive Hit punished for his overaggression. Panda Game's getting taken down, and now no DPS alive here for the side of Airstrike. They've got to hold on as best they can. Sweetbuns has it. Oh my god, but Cryptic Force, his hammer is just too much. Cryptic Feed, nay. He says, I'll take that fight on my own.
And that was also a shutdown of Sweetbun's ultimate right there, which could have ended up cleaning up the rest of Airstrike. That fat shatter coming in after we ended up seeing Cobb fall in that fight. Just absolutely incredible timing right there. We're going to see this push coming in once again around the clock tower.
Yep, it's going to be the same exact thing, and the same exact great rotation here coming out from Airstrike, and they'll have the ultimate advantage because of it. Blizzard comes out, nobody gets frozen. Oh no, Cobb runs into the lamp, and that's going to make him get frozen here. He's purpled, and this is a lot of damage going down on the side of Instaloch in the wall. It's going to add insult to injury. That's it. Sweetbuns and Cobb go down. That fight's over. 2 minutes left on the clock here for Instaloch to try and close out point.
I could just see Cobb in that moment with like that Reaper Shrug emote after seeing both Bad Heels and Slang Taffy able to get out of that anti-nade Maywall block right there. It's just like, oh well, I guess I'll just die now.
That's not a situation any Reinhardt wants to be in, but I gotta hand it over to Panda Games. It's been fantastic play from him so far, but right as I say that, that wall's not gonna connect. Sweetbun moves in on the Doomfist, finds a little bit of damage, but the Sound Barrier comes out. Cryptic Force gonna look to push on top, but the second Sound Barrier out from Bad Heels here. They will have the advantage, but their main tank goes down. Cobb down to it. Panda Games dies though to the Deadeye. Cognitive Hit finding one here, pushing their way in. They've got the bomb. Do they have anything to follow it up? Cobb has the shatter, but he's not there to do it. In fact, it's Cryptic Force. He's got a shatter of his own. He's got other plans here, and he's going to continue to swing through. This man has just turned on since map 1.
So there were some interesting trades of ultimates right there. I guess I must have caught Cognitive Pit on the side of that wall, able to still get that pick onto Panda Games, but even the Diva Bomb from Slang Taffy was just... the odd positioning was still able to get that pick onto Octane. Regardless, Cryptic Force continuing to come out, and the missed Q as Octane just stands there like, oops.
But we'll chalk that down to a fat finger and not BM as Panda Games will get slept here, actually. It's going to be a nice little opportunity for Instaloch to push in without getting walled. They end up waking him up, but it does allow them to push their way around this tank. Oh, the wall lands, the bombs over the top. There's no Reinhardt shield. It's fine. Sweet Buns in the backline. Well placed again by Cactus. These bombs, I have to just praise him, and now the Blizzard is in the clock tower and everyone is getting frozen up fighting kills. It's still going to be Slang Taffy alive on this point. He can find one pick. He might be able to buy his team a little bit of time, but with 6 seconds on the clock, if he dies anytime sooner right now, and Sweet Buns is not able to touch on this Tracer. 1 second. Oh, the blink gets there just in time. Cactus finds Slang Taffy though. Like I mentioned, that Demon no longer alive on the point. They're just cutting off from the base of the flow right now. Cognitive Fit goes down dead in the chokes. Hickory Wall is trying to stay alive. Cog is searching for the shatter. Not likely to find much of anything. Cryptic Force charge him and is on off the point. Slang Taffy does make it in on the Wrecking Ball, and this is actually a pretty valiant attempt here at the stagger, but you have to think it's not going to be for much. Octane taking his sweet time here as overtime ticks down. Airstrike lead the series 2-1.
That was just an incredible battle between the Rhines right there, and I feel like we're seeing the domination of Cryptic Force coming in as we watch this beautiful play of the game, which I imagine is going to be, is actually going to be from their attack, right? Or, sorry, from their defense that ended up shutting down that ultimate, got the quad right there. Just absolutely working out in the favor of when those shatters are timed. Cobb kind of using them more out of desperation than we see Cryptic Force trying to take Cobb out of the fight first, and then being able to use the shatter to clean up anybody else that might be sitting on the objective.
Yeah, and with that, I'd love to send it over to our desk. Billy Gott, you've been watching with bated breath as Airstrike take the lead in this series and seem to be in the driver's seat right now. Is there anything really important that you want to start breaking down for us?
I think it's really difficult to play Reinhardt when you don't have a Mei. You can't split people off. You can't really just walk back around the corner and use the wall defensively, and that's leading to Cobb's shield being broken or Cobb being pushed by the enemy Mei really often. And we can see that with Cryptic's massive shatters he's landing. That's not him completely outplaying Cobb. That's Cobb just being unable to do anything, sitting by as he gets shattered.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that we continue to see, is that with Cognitive and Sweep Guns going for these more tactical, these more nuanced DPS heroes, Octane and Panda really sticking to their guns with this May McCree setup to be able to stun and control around the entire objective no matter where they're at. I'm kind of surprised that Instaloch hasn't tried to bring something out that will end up shutting down especially Panda Games from continuing to pick on Cobb.
I think that's the thing, though, is there's nothing really here from Airstrike that I'm seeing to be punishable. What we saw the first map was Instaloch really catching Airstrike off guard, Airstrike playing a little bit too tight. The second map, I think the most impressive part to me was the fact they pushed through, they managed to get point A in overtime, but seemingly having just a complete renaissance of their playstyle within a map. It's one thing to do it between maps during a halftime, but in the middle of a map, they managed to identify their issue and start to solve it. And then after that, it was all gravy for them as they headed onto Volskaya, and then the players started to pop off, and it was just absurd to watch Airstrike turn around so quickly, and now it's on Instaloch. And one of the things I want to point out here, though, is the fact that Paper Seller, after they won the first map, got subbed out for Sacred Walrus. I don't think either of these players have been doing too much wrong on the Lucio, but seeing it swap back after 2 map losses is something that I do want to see. You know, if you're losing maps, you might as well go back to what was comfortable, and especially considering that it forced Bad Heals to actually play Lucio there on Eichenwald, and having seen his performance before with those anti-nades, I've got to say I'd much rather see him on the main heals.
I can definitely agree with you there. Well, everybody go ahead and get your cowboy boots, because we're getting ready to get our kicks as we head to Route 66, our escort map for the evening. Definitely going to be an interesting setup right here. It always confuses me as a Platinum player that the hold on Big Earls is always so hit and miss. And I guess they wouldn't miss, huh? But it really comes down to the fact that, very often.
Jack, I've known you for a day, but you've sunk into new levels.
I am the dad joke king where I come from, so you just better be ready for it. But I always question the hold on top of Big Earls because many times I always find that the team either doesn't drop down effectively and together to be able to kind of collapse on the enemy as they're going by, or they mistime it, or they jump down too early. And personally, I feel like holding this choke right here, right before you get to Big Earls, is more beneficial. It allows you time to respawn and get back into the fight. But we are seeing a dive strat coming out from the side of Instaloch, which did help them win victory on the control point. So let's see what they can make happen.
And it's a little thing, but we don't see Cobb start off on this high ground, and that's actually going to take away about 20% of ultimate charge that he could have been getting earlier on in the fight. And that really matters because Winston in these early holds, you're really playing to get that primal rage up as quickly as possible. You see him sitting at 50%. That easily could be a 70 or an 80% had he started out a little bit more aggressively, and I think that'll matter going into this fight, as it looks like Airstrike are going to try to force him onto the low ground. Cobb jumps down. Cryptic Force swinging through that Reinhardt hammer is a real scary prospect right now for this monkey or scientist, whatever you prefer. Cobb, though, finally going to dive this back line. It's Octane going to be punishing Cognitive Pit, getting a little aggressive on this Widow. He tries to swap over to what was working before, but Octane has just got too much momentum on his side. He's been popping off too much. Is now Instaloch actually rotated all the way onto the back line of Airstrike, and they're completely dismantled right now. Their composition picked apart because it was such a disorganized hold.
And I feel like that's something that we are continuing to see from the side of Instaloch, is that one of the players that they really need to be focusing on is Panda Games on that Mei. And if Cognitive Pit isn't able to get that initial pick, especially with the dive composition that they're running right now, they're going to continue to pick it apart. Like, Mei is all about control right now, but bad heals with those huge anti-nades again.
That's going to be what they're looking for here. They've got the sights. They do manage to find a kill for it. It's Octane going down, getting a little bit too big for his bridges there, right in the A door. Sweet Buns Ball. We're picking off Cryptic Force. Couple of extra kills here for the side of Instaloch. But you know what? They're going to take a couple seconds off that clock, and I don't think Airstrike are going to be too mad about losing.
And that's going to be a beautiful setup for them as the ultimates start coming out online. Actually, a full set of ultimates coming on for the side of Airstrike, as they didn't even use one to win the fight to get objective number 1. That's going to end up working out incredibly well for them as they move in for another push.
And that's it. Cobb gets nanted. He's pushing in the sound barrier to keep him alive. And Cryptic Force finds both the tanks. Now backing up. Cactus nearly running into his supports with that pulse bomb. Gonna chuck the bomb in, searching for a kill. First time I haven't seen him get a kill all night. And the Winston, though, gonna get punished in the backline. Cognitive Pit still throw on this Widow. He's got the sight line he's looking for. The bomb's chucked in. Gonna find nothing. Great wall here out of Panda Games. Gonna keeping him and his supports alive. As Cactus and Cryptic Force look to take a bit of space here on the tank line. Flying Taffy, though, I like this. He's zoning out the entirety of Airstrike right now, so supports can go off. But Octane and Panda Games are just too accurate right now. Those icicles to the dome are just a little bit too much damage here for Sweet Buns to handle. Now pushing their way through. It's a little bit of a bad stagger here for the side of Instaloch. It's going to cost them a lot of time if they start bleeding out heroes right now.
And we do see Cobb swapping back over to the Rhine to kind of even things out for the defense. It's going to be interesting to see how they continue to work with this, as Panda Games, again, with those walls, looking to do some damage.
And immediately, Cobb remembering what it was like to play on Volskaya, and with him down, the Shatter's free. Cryptic Force finding another one. It feels like every single one's just hitting 2 people at this point. I think Airstrike are incapable of finding only 1 kill with an ultimate at this point.
Yeah, I really feel like that's what it's going to end up continuing to come down to right here. And we do see Cognitive Pit swapping over to the McCree as we move into area number 3. Sweet Buns also coming in on that Doomfist, but so far neither of those have really gotten the value that they need to take down Panda Games to prevent those walls from separating them out. I disregard. Sweet Buns actually coming in on that Genji, maybe looking to get that Nano Blade in here.
Tell you what, he didn't find it was the deflect onto the Blizzard, but now Cobb doesn't quite get frozen down, gets the Nano. He looks to push on a Cryptic Force, but Cryptic Force has his own Nano in his back pocket. Ana pushing in now. The Diva Bomb comes out here from the side of Instaloch. Doesn't find anybody. Nonetheless, though, it's going to zone him out enough that they manage to start feeling out this fight. Panda is still alive on the card alongside Vayne. Lucio going to be trying to speed him out but it's fruitless efforts right now. But 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock is plenty of time here for Airstrike to continue their push.
And this is going to be their best opportunity for a hold right here. They have the spawn advantage to a certain degree. They have the ability to constantly feed into the objective to keep that payload from moving. And with the ultimates coming online, it could be of incredible value to them. It's just going to come down to positioning at this point.
Oh, positioning regardless. Cobb again caught out by the Maywall, and I think this comes down to a team thing. You really need to be having at least your Lucio riding inside your Reinhardt sandbox so he doesn't cut out. Oh, Cobb, baby! He found 5. Oh, the turns around and does it right back to him. The bomb's out in the back line. Cactus finds one. This fight's not over. Cryptic Force wants revenge right now. He'll finally go down to the booth of paper. Stellar now pushing out, taking a minute off of the clock, and Cobb coming up huge for his team when they need it most.
That was an absolutely beautiful shatter right there, planning out the perfect time that Cryptic Force laying it down for that fire strike, ends up getting the 6-man right there. Didn't get the full cleanup, but still was able to delay the fight enough. But here they are back at it again with 2 minutes on the clock.
And Cryptic can't block both of them, but the charge doesn't come in because Cobb's already frozen up here by the Blizzard. Cryptic Force charging him through. Cactus is going to be finding his counterpart in flying Taffy Octane as well, finding the opposing McCree, now running in with that blade. Sweet Buns isn't able to do anything regardless of the nano. The anti-nade lands on a 2, but it doesn't really matter now as Paper Seller is the only thing alive on this cart, keeping it from moving now. We're in dire straits right now for Instaloch as they need to hold on, and all they have to do it is a Deadeye. Swaps coming in all over the place, but Cryptic Force has one of those shadows. He's been big on him all night. He's going to have to be big one more time to try and finish out this map. Cogs on the Reinhardt, the only thing in between Cryptic Force and Sweet victory right now. They need to disengage, though, because the anti-nade, again, out of bad heals. He's a menace nonetheless. They've got to remember how to play against it. Oh, but Cobb gets walled. Behind who comes out. Cognitive finds one on the Panda. The push should not come through. Airstrike need to play this one carefully. They've lost their members. The shatter goes. Doesn't find anybody. Great. Bubble here by slaying Taffy allows him to continue pushing right now. Now at a disadvantage. It's Airstrike playing down 4 versus 6 right now. Cryptic Force forced away from his team. He'll have to regroup with them outside as just 55 seconds tick down on that clock.
And that's one thing that they could have been using all along. I understand that D.Va is incredibly powerful right now, but having that Zarya to be able to bubble at least 2 members of your team to stay up in the fights is incredibly powerful against the Shatter.
Oh, it's not going to be strong enough to stop Panda Games, though. He runs forward on the May walls off the Reinhardt, and Cobb goes down yet again. Cryptic Force, though, gets the nano. He's feeling himself. You know he is. Panda Games has to use that ice block. The bomb goes up. Octane finds the kills before Cactus can get him, though. He'll clean up one more. Pick up the scraps. And with 23 seconds left on the clock, it's going to be Airstrike completing Route 66.
And that was an incredible hold from the side of Instaloch right there. They really were able to feel themselves, and I hope that that massive shatter that we ended up seeing Cobb get kind of gives them an additional spark in their behinds to be able to really figure out how they're going to continue to shut this down. Bad Heels coming back with the anti-nades once again, being able to get into that backline and do quite a bit of damage from the anti-heals that continue to go out. I'm hoping that they will continue to work this out, but again, 23 seconds on the clock means that we're headed to around 3 or 4 if they push it all the way in. So their goal is to try to keep it above a minute as much as possible.
Yeah, you've said it pretty plainly right now. I'm actually interested to see what Instaloch decide to run. Looks like they're going to want to play this Winston Widowmaker yet again, but I have to start suspecting that Airstrike have pretty much perfected playing against this composition right now. Maybe a little bit different on the attack with Sweet Buns trying to play the Genji, but it doesn't instill confidence when they start trying to do things that are, it feels like they're throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks, you know?
No, I completely agree with you there. And they're still not dealing with the menace that is Panda Games right now. You saw that especially during the Nano Blade that came out from Sweet Buns and Bad Heels. The fact that Panda Games was just in the middle of everything, continuing to slow down Sweet Buns from actually getting any kind of damage on the side of Airstrike. And that is going to be continually what we see as we now have a dive composition coming in on the attack.
Dive is nothing foreign here to Route 66. It's going to be Cobb trying to push in here, getting as much of that ultimate charge down as he can, using that Tesla gun to try and dish out as much damage as possible, but he gets frozen out just barely on the edge there of the diner, and he'll go down for it. Now pushing through, it's going to be Airstrike. And I kind of want to touch on something. We talk about how you want them to be taking out Panda Games, be dealing with these issues that Airstrike is throwing out. But Instaloch, if you look at the way they won the first map, it was by throwing out something that Airstrike didn't know how to solve. And that looks like that's how they're trying to win this map and the previous maps as well, by trying to change up different things and see what Airstrike can't deal with. But it seems like at this point, Airstrike are more than competent at dealing with anything Instaloch need to throw out, and it's got to be Instaloch trying to change their style to fit Airstrike, not the other way around right now.
No, I definitely can agree with you right there, but I think the fact of the matter is that it's not dealing with certain aspects of the composition. As they go ahead and go in for another push, they're able to take down Cryptic Force right there, and that might be exactly what they need to take point one.
Yeah, trying to pick up the scraps right now. Airstrike does have a few members around. Octane does have the high ground. He can take out a few members here. That's actually pretty big. Manages to find the Genji sweep buns. Goes down. He's actually sitting on the blades. That's going to be a good opportunity for Airstrike to push back in here. Cryptic Force is coming back to life. And Paper Seller can't quite find the kill. McCree, he actually feeds himself down to him. And that's going to be huge here. The cart pushing towards the end. This could be a hold here for Airstrike. Are they going to look for it? Force comes in from the side. 2 meters. 1 meter. Finally, Cryptic Force touches. Octane goes down for it. Though the Shatter finds 4. What the hell did you eat for breakfast, Cryptic Force? Finds 2 for himself. But is there the damage to back it up? The blade is going to be dropped here from Sweet Buns, the Soundmaker, to try and keep the rest of his team alive, but it's Airstrike all over the cart right now. An immovable object against the force that is Sweet Buns.
Whew, that was quite a few ultimates invested from the side of Airstrike right there, but definitely needed there in the end. Cryptic Force able to get off that massive shatter, but didn't end up taking down both Cobb and Slang Taffy, which we said, as long as some people are able to stay up and continue to fight, that was going to be the issue. Cobb was able to get a massive shatter in return, which caused them once again to feed in those additional ultimates to be able to hold the objective and wear off time, but it may not work this time around.
And now it's Octane, he's got the Deadeye, he's on top of the diner, and Instaloch have absolutely no idea. They're waiting for their opportunity. The Soundberry comes out, and there's going to be Octane's chance. When does he take it? Panda Games taken low. Ice block to save himself. Cognitive Pit chucks out his own Deadeye as the cart nears the end of the point here. Paper Cello takes out Octane, gets rid of that threat. Now the Graviton from Slaying Taffy might come out here. He's got to be careful, though, because the killer coming out. Cobb's got the shatter. Finds 3, and that's going to seal this point A.
Ooh, not yet. Diva Bomb comes out, ends up getting Cognitive Pit right there as they continue to hold on, but it looks like that is going to end up being the DMEC right there. Just sly of that. 40 seconds on the clock brings them up to 3 minutes as they grab objective number 1. Slang Taffy still holding on to that Graviton Surge for the most opportune time. Sweet Buns, though, coming in on that May ended up being incredibly clutch, though, because they were able to position themselves alongside Cobb. They were able to use their May walls in conjunction with Panda Games to continually protect Cobb and prevent them from moving in to get picks on their main tank, which I feel is something they should have been doing all along.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they got to be searching for, but it's just such a struggle against Airstrike. They've started playing so cleanly, and it feels like those mistakes that Instaloch were abusing really just aren't there anymore. Panda's May has looked incredible, and that's really what's been stopping a lot of this. Cobb might get frozen out here. The Blizzard comes out trying to save it. The Shatter doesn't land. Cryptic Force blocks it, and it's going to win them the fight. On top of that, Blizzard Octane going to be the one to clean it all up. Cactus finding Cognitive Pit there at the end, and Airstrike dig their heels in and hold on point 2.
That's unfortunate too, because that was a 2-for-2 trade right there. Cryptic Force and Panda Games using the Blizzard and Shatter against Blank Taffy and Cobb using the Shatter and Graviton right there. Not being able to follow up on all the damage that those ultimates could have done. They're going to find themselves at an incredible disadvantage as they move in for another push.
Yeah, and this really isn't the place you want to be. The Ana has the high ground. Meanwhile, Instaloch does have a fair bank of ultimates built up to try and make this push, but oh no, it could be Sweet Buns getting caught out here on the May. No! Oh, it's the Eat Cactus! There it is, he's hungry, he needs the nutrients, and that's going to be it. Takes those Blizzards for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and now dessert here as they're looking to close out this point. 1 minute and 22 seconds left on the clock. Cobb gets the nano swinging through Cryptic Force. Cryptic Force just trying to stay alive, keep his team going right now because that Nano is almost up. He's at 93%. Cryptic Force though has the Shatter. He's been big all night. One more here would mean so much for his team, but he gets frozen out and goes down, and that's going to be the fight. Heading the way of Instaloch. Might be one more though that Airstrike get out before the end of this point.
And that was absolutely perfect positioning from the side of Instaloch right there. Once again, Sweep on sticking to Cobb's side like glue, being able to separate Cryptic Force from the rest of the team like they've been doing to Cobb all night. Being able to take advantage of that pick, especially with how incredibly damaging and aggressive that Cryptic Force has been. Separating them out from the team, ended up grabbing them objective number 2, giving them an extra 2 minutes on the clock.
I like what I'm seeing out of Airstrike here. They're keeping members with Cryptic Force. Oh my god! They kept them with them to get shattered, that is, here. As Cobb pushes through, finds 2 kills to his name. Instaloch gonna storm their way here onto this last point.
I have to say, with the aggression now, the corn has literally come off the Cobb at this point. Just absolutely being able to use those May walls to the advantage that normally we had been seeing from Airstrike all evening, now being used against them to continually push into this objective. Airstrike has to come out with a different strategy right now, or continue the same and hope that it works, and it did.
And yep, that's going to be it. Trading back another fight. Airstrike managed to even out here on the 3rd point. You mentioned a minute really being that critical time bank that they were looking for, but they're not going to be able to get here. Time will tick down, and Panda Games does have that Blizzard, and with no Diva to eat it, it's really going to be up to Sweet Buns to land that counter Blizzard in order to stop this push from coming through.
No, I definitely agree with you there. Either that or going to be a fat pick coming in from Cognitive Fit with that Deadeye as they try to push their way in. We already see Octane on that high ground looking to do some damage.
And with Sheepy gone, actually, Airstrike need to temper their aggression just a little bit. They need to understand that they don't have main heals, and it looks like they do. They're going to back up here, and they have so many ultimates built up in the bank. It's pretty much 12 on the board here for both teams. The high noon dropped here from Octane. Walls up, walls down. There's nothing in his way, but he's taken out by a headshot of Cognitive Pit. Blizzard here freezing up a lot of the members of Airstrike in a nice anti-nade from Bad Heals. Going to stop anything from happening. Cryptic Force, it is such low health. The bomb is going to be dropped here out of mad desperation from Cactus. He still manages to find one. How does this man do it?
I don't
now
know.
It's staggered from Airstrike as they push their way on the point. Bad Heals, though, the anti-nade finds another one. 10 seconds on the clock. They're trying not to get overtime right now. The push coming in. The sound barrier is almost going to guarantee it right now. 4 seconds on the clock. And now making his way on the point. Panda Games swapped off that May. Finally, it's a Tracer and the Shatter here from Cobb. Looks to close it out. Panda still alive on the point. Octane searching for the flashbang. Doesn't find anybody. Cryptic Force works his way on the point. He has the Shatter. Looks for it. Cobb is a mind reader, and he asserts his dominance here at the end of point C. Instaloch finish out Route 66.
And this is interesting. It's almost like Cryptic Force and Cobb have essentially switched places once we went to Route 66, because Cryptic, although being able to take down Cobb during that first round and get massive shatters out of nowhere, Cobb now being incredibly more reserved, taking Cryptic's shatters one after another during that push in round 2, straight to the shield to be able to protect the team right there. Just really noticing when Cryptic was going to be popping those out. With only a 23-second difference here, it's going to come down to the lasting pushes that we've continued to see from this team. And right now, it looks like Airstrike will be taking the advantage here if they push like they did in round 1.
Yep, and with this little bit of time that we have, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. This has been an absolute treat of a match, and one that I think everybody's going to be excited to see the finish of. And if you haven't been missing it in chat, you can now redeem your channel points for those giveaways, so go ahead and keep an eye out for that, and keep your eyes on the stream, because this is an absolute slugfest right now. It's a Bastion, though, out of Instaloch. What's this mean, Jack?
Ooh, baby, my baby's coming out to play. This is going to be beautiful. The pirate ship strategy coming out right now. It's essentially protect the president right here. And the first and only goal that we're going to see coming out from Sweet Buns is to take down Cactus, and then Panda Games right after that, being able to prevent anything that's going to eat up that damage right now. And already a little bit intimidated as we see Octane trying to get into that backline very early.
Trying to do a lot that Baptiste, not going to be getting the better of him. Now trying to drop on the cart, but Maywall actually keeps the Reinhardt off the Bastion. Sweep though, forced back. The nice anti-nade lands down onto 3 members of Airstrike here, forcing them to give the Bastion space, and now Sweet Buns, it's just a firing range for him here in the wild, wild West of Route 66. Cactus trying to make his way forward. The defense matrix, though, not going to be enough to stop this turret from ripping through Airstrike's health bars right now, and he is an immovable object. Now boosted up by the Maywall. Cactus trying to dive him, gonna boot him off, and Panda Game's finally gonna be finishing off. It was the Menace, but he's now gone, and the anti-nade out of Sheepy this time is gonna be matching that of Bad Heals and finishing off the fight.
And that was incredible positioning right there. I know that typically Panda Games propping up the Bastion would be a bad thing right there, but honestly, Sweet Buns wasn't expecting it and was trying to do damage around the cart instead of trying to effectively reposition around their shields to get in some additional damage right there. Staying in that position, they were able to be propped up and immediately picked off by Panda Games there at the end. And with only 41 meters pushed, just in range of Big Earls to gas up, they're going to have an incredible defense coming in. That 23 seconds is going to mean a lot.
Yeah, and with distances this short, everything matters. And the cart making it past that corner actually means a lot here for Instaloch. If they weren't able to get around the corner, if they got stuck on that corner, they would not be able to hold it nearly the same way as they are now. That cart has a bit more distance to go, but 5 meters might as well be a mile in this instance. Like you mentioned, every second will matter here for Airstrike. They have just enough time. If they make it really quick, they'll be able to get 2 pushes in. But again, that cart just takes a certain amount of time to get that far. So that's pretty much guaranteed time off your clock here. But they're going to lock in the old reliable composition. As Instaloch actually look to do the same exact thing, Sweet Buns swapping back onto that Mei. I like what I'm seeing here from them.
And I think that is a great preventative measure right there. Cognitive Pit and Cobb have been doing a great job of doing enough damage to be able to take care of Airstrike. If Sweet Buns can continue to counter Panda Games on that Mei, I think it's going to work out really well for them.
Yeah, he's got to land on the walls. Tries to find one on the Cryptic Force, not able to do it. Instead, it's Cobb getting cut off, but Bad Heals is there. Tries to land the anti-nade, but Cactus eats it, and that's the first one! It's going to be huge here. Now they can push in without that threat. Panda Game's trying to find the freeze down onto Cobb. He's getting a little bit aggressive. Not going to be cut off, though. Cobb gets walled as well as Cryptic Force, but nobody cut off in a bad position. It's Cognitive Pit, though, going down first to the poke from Octane. Cactus finds Cobb. The alternative Reinhardt now pushing through. It's going to be Airstrike. They found 1. They found 2. They need to stabilize, though. Instaloch don't have time to dilly-dally right now. It's go time. Bad Heals is the last man to go down here. That's a huge stagger on to the main heals. Great job, though, by Paper Seller, stopping that cart from continuing forward. Cobb, though, it's going to be a desperation touch here.
And I feel like that was interesting that they waited so long to take down Paper Seller. I understand using the Lucio to get back to point very quickly, but it ended up shaving time off the clock. But nevertheless, it worked out for them.
And that's going to be it. Airstrike take map 3 after some of the most incredible maps of Overwatch and most entertaining that I've gotten to see in my entire life. That's going to be it for the series, though. It's Airstrike taking it out 3-1. Real quick, one last time, I want to thank Billy Gout for coming out here on the desk. You have any closing notes for us, Billy Gout?
I said to fear Cryptic Force, and now I think he will be even more than he was before.
That sums it up pretty well here, and congratulations yet again to Airstrike. Some fantastic play and fantastic adaptation, no less, coming out from them. But that's going to be our match for the night. And we do actually have a couple upcoming matches for you guys. There will be one more coming out on Friday. It's a Transcendence match. I'm actually not certain who's playing right now. I might be able to get a word on that.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you. It looks like it will be... Oh, yes. Actually, our next match is going to be Tuesday of next week is going to be in the Harmony Division, Jetpack Cax versus Flashbacks.
All right, you guys heard it here.
Say that one more time. All right. So it looks like we have a recorded match on Friday. Houston In-Laws versus Volume 51 coming in for that. So be sure to pay attention for that coming in on Friday, as well as the additional matches coming in for week 3 next week. Definitely going to be interesting to see how this ends up all.